I'm afraid with Sony, Xbox, like all these consoles, that we're not going to be able to upgrade our storage anymore. Yes, do I care about people that care about physical games? Yes, because I own a ton of physical games. I'm a collector. I like collecting, but most of the games I have are just digital. The one thing I will definitely fight against is ownership.
That comes down to the will of the people. You have to vote with your wallet. If you really feel that strongly about it, then don't support them in that way. I'm really on the fence about it because of the principles and the standards behind it I don't like. But I'm also thinking at this point, what do they really offer to me that PC doesn't already offer? Welcome, everybody, to episode number 287 of the COD Casuals podcast. We're your host, Mike.
I'm Justin.
Justin, how we doing today, bro?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a Wednesday? Yeah, it's a Wednesday.
It is a Wednesday. Yes.
I got back from like a short trip visiting my sister down the East Coast, so it's been nice. I told you the whole story.
Yeah, smooth sailing on the way there, right, bro?
Yeah. A series of unfortunate events. But flight got canceled essentially because someone decided not to do their job.
Yes.
That's essentially what happened. Like someone overslept, so it delayed my flight to the point where they had to cancel it. And I packed up. I was like, screw this, I'm driving. And then woke up the next morning with no sleep and drove all the way down.
Dude, like I was saying to you, it's really amazing how, like, you think about with any job, like we've talked about it before, it's hard to call out because you feel like people are depending on you, but dude, that's another level. Like when you call out on that job, you literally just over everybody on that flight, like completely ruined their day. And like, thankfully for you, it's like, it wasn't a super urgent thing. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, it's a nice visit. Yeah, you got the days off. Dude, can you imagine if people on there have like massive stuff that they got to do and they're like, bro, I need to be in, like, because I got to be in some meeting tomorrow morning. And then just all this nonsense goes down. They're like, yeah, I can imagine people tweaking crazy over that, all just because one person slept in and was like, nah, I'm just going to hang it up for the day.
Yep.
Like, bro, the guilt would be crazy.
Yeah. I guarantee you this person didn't think of it at all. No guilt. But yeah, I mean, we made it there and then made it back on the drive. And, it is what it is at this point because I'm going on another trip again in the next couple of days. So my hope is that, all right, all the bad juju already happened with this one. Because, again, that's never happened to me. Essentially what happened was the flight was on time. We were there ready to go. And a flight attendant was missing. Flights can't go up unless you have X number of flight attendants on, depending on the size of your plane. And it just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. Finally get on the flight because another flight attendant comes on. And then the pilot essentially says, we have to cancel this flight because there's a curfew at the airport that we're landing, and it's a strict cutoff at midnight because there's only 2 runways. So it's super small airport, and they just shut it down. And then he told us to deboard the plane. And I'm like, oh, okay, crazy. Cancel the flight, and then I just had to drive.
Bro.
Yeah. Yep. And then I had to drive back. I drove back yesterday. So I got back at a decent time. I got back around 5 o'clock. So it wasn't the worst. But yeah, knowing that it was a 6-hour drive, could have been an hour and a half flight. Up and down.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we were saying too. Like that's right on the threshold for me where that you're kind of debating, like, do I make the drive? Because, I think 4 hours is, if you're going somewhere, 4 hours is pretty standard where I'm like, yeah, that's a decent haul. Like, that's not too crazy. It used to be for me 2 hours, but that's kind of whatever now. But once you get up into the 6 hours, yeah, you're pushing it. You're like, okay, you got to make sure that you've got it planned out, like, and you're all set because you're going to be in there for a minute, But anything over 10 hours, like we were saying, dude, 10 hours to me, I mean, yeah, your whole day is chalked. Like the whole day is driving, and you got to be on it. Like you can't just be kind of screwing around being like, oh yeah, let's go for a 10-hour drive. It's like, no, dude, that's intense.
Yeah. That's 10 hours of like something could happen in those 10 hours. But you just never know. And like the 4 hours for me, like that's not bad. Like I've driven from here 4 hours out, and it's like I just break it up into 2 hours each, and it's not bad. And then like when I drove to college, it was almost 2 hours, so that wasn't even bad at all. So I'd do that drive in a day.
Right,
Um,
right.
but yeah, when it was over 5, I'm like, ah, okay, this is a lot. Like I can break it up into 3 hours each, like trying to trick my brain. I'm almost there. Like I just
Right,
did
right,
three
right.
hours. I just gotta do another three.
Yeah.
And then
I
you finally hit an hour, and you're like, dude, this last hour's taking forever.
crazy. Yeah. I had to look it up because I remember when I was a kid, my me and my mom and my brother, we would drive. I don't know why we didn't fly, but we would drive to Chicago
Mhm.
from from Massachusetts, and I like remembered it being somewhere around 20 hours. I looked it up from where I'm at, which is, it's like an hour from Mass. It's like 15 hours.
Mhm.
And just thinking about that drive, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, dude, mom was a trooper to be able to do that drive. Like, holy
Yeah.
shit. Me and my brother, I remember we're like, yo, wait, we'll get you some Red Bulls. We'll do this. And she was like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, we're just raw dogging 15 hours is diabolical work.
Yeah, cause my parents, like we always road trip too. We would drive down to North Carolina, and that
Yeah, that's
was,
a long drive.
I want to say that's like 15, 16 hours, like without any stops.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, why do we do that? Because it's
Yeah.
cheaper. I mean, I
Right.
guess like back, you know, I guess it was cheaper. Now I'm like, no chance. I mean, my flight to Maryland was less than $100 round trip. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm paying that $100 to just save all that time.
Oh yeah. No, dude, you definitely pay. I mean, especially now with the price of gas. Gas be crazy. But
Yeah.
for sure the convenience factor.
Yeah.
Like that's so easy. You just an hour and a half flight that goes by like nothing.
Hmm.
If you're watching a good show that's like, yeah, an hour long or 40 minutes, like, bro, that's barely anything, you
Hmm.
know. So it's definitely worth it. Now I'm of that too. I think about back then, and yeah, 3 people on a flight probably was expensive. Well, definitely. But me now, I'm such a bitch. I would be like, dude, there's no shot I'm gonna be driving that. Like, I'll just take the easy route. I'll take the flight if I
Yeah.
have to pay a little bit more for sure, but I'm always gonna pay for the convenience factor. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
to subject myself to that. Especially too, what if you're driving, something goes wrong? I'm like, dude, I just looked up that miles. It was almost 1,000 miles. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, 1,000 miles straight on your car, like, dude, you don't know. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
something could go wrong. I'm like, then you're cooked.
Yeah. Something can go wrong with your car. You could get into a car accident. Like if you get
Flat
into a car
tire.
accident, yeah, yeah. Anything that your 10-hour drive just make it's even worse now. So yeah, not for me. But well, especially now. Like it'd be different if it was a planned road trip. You know,
Yeah.
that is so different. But yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Like
Before
a
it
road
was
trip
supposed
with
to
your
be an hour
friends.
and a half. Yeah, it was supposed to be an hour and a half flight turned into over a 6-hour drive.
Dude, it's crazy, and you'll love this because you were there or like around those areas. Is one of my friends, she drove all the way to Yosemite.
Hmm. Oh, from here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah,
Like,
my
I couldn't even imagine that drive.
my mentee from work, she literally her graduation gift or something was flying out to California to see like one of her friends or something. And her and her friend did a road trip from Newport, California, all the way to Newport, Rhode Island, like right before the internship. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that is nuts. I mean, that sounds like a ton of fun. Like you and your friend just like hanging out the
Yeah.
entire time. And they didn't do it straight, obviously. You can't. Like they
Of course.
stopped
Yeah.
and stuff. But you get to see go sightseeing and stuff. But now she can say she did a cross country road trip, like
Yeah.
legitimately a cross country road trip.
Yeah. And again, if you have someone there with you doing it, I preface with her too. She did it solo.
Oh yeah,
Like,
see that fucking sucks.
yeah.
It's
She's like,
so
I want
boring.
to go out there. She's like, no one's gonna go out there with me. Fuck it, I'm just gonna go. I'm like, yo, fair play to you. Like,
Fair play,
that's
yeah, yeah.
respect. That's respect. But at the same time, and yeah, and you go and you do the stops, of course. But man, that's so much driving.
There's
I'm
only
like,
so
man,
many podcasts.
that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, dude, listen, I love music, but man,
Yeah,
that playlist has to be dialed in for me to
yeah,
be like, I get bored so quick. I'd be like, oh my god,
yeah.
I'd probably like give up halfway.
Yeah, you're 3 hours in. You're like, oh god.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, I've listened to every single album by this guy. I'm cooked, bro.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
I don't even know. I'm just like shuffling halfway through while I'm driving. But
And the worst is when like you took time off specifically for this, so it's not like you can just take your time going. Like if you
right,
could take your time going through this road trip, you could do it in like 2 weeks, three
right.
weeks, stop and see. But no, most people kind of just have to. You do quick stops here and there and just power through.
Yeah. No, it's definitely something to endure for sure. I give respect to anybody who can do that, but no, definitely not me. But
Yeah, I'm hopping
I,
off late.
I'd say too. I mean, I've been a little sad, Justin. I mean, it is again. We're doing this on August 12th. At the time we're recording this, the Black Ops 7 competitive season it's officially over.
Hmm.
It is it's always a tough time of the year for sure. When we get to this point when like you watch the last match of the game and you're just like, I was excited. I was watching it, enjoying EWC for those who didn't watch it. But then when the streams turned off, I was like, damn. I was
Yeah,
like,
there's
I'm
nothing
like,
else.
that's it, bro. This game's
Mhm.
done. Like we ain't ever gonna see Black Ops 7 competitive. It's just another year in the books.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. Every year now it hits me a bit more where I'm like, wow, we were so stoked when BO7 came out and seeing the first games, and then here we are watching the last game and it's done again. And then they're like seeing all the tweets, people being like, see you in MW4. I'm like, damn, I can't even imagine that we're gonna be watching MW4, but we're gonna be there soon. Like it's a
Yeah,
trip.
it's weird. Like seeing on the flank like Zoom and Ben like signing off. Like we'll see you guys next year, and then same with Scump. Like the watch party, like it's over until next year. It's interesting. Oh, Kenny signed with Optic just randomly. Well, actually not randomly. He's been on the watch party a lot, and no one really assumed anything, which I mean makes sense. But regardless, like yeah, it's weird seeing BO7 just over. Very, very
Yeah.
weird. But I'm like excited. I'm actually excited about MW4.
Yeah, me too.
I I can't again. I can't play the fucking beta. I can't
I
play it
know.
for the pre-order. I can play it on the open
Did
beta.
you already pre-order the game?
Yeah, for nothing. I can't even play it. Well,
I
actually,
know,
no. I can
bro.
play. I can play the campaign like a week early.
Yeah.
So I guess for that. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna be playing it during the open beta weekend with everyone else that says they hate Call of Duty, but they're gonna play it.
No, I'm definitely excited for it. I mean, it's coming up like, I mean, from the time we're doing it's gonna be next week. It's right next
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tripped me out. Like this morning I was playing BO7 and I'm just like, damn, like I really don't have a lot more time left on this game. Like we're really coming to the end again, you know?
Hmm.
And I remember we did that with like Cold War when we were playing
Hmm.
and we're like, dude, this is our last match of Cold War, you know?
Yeah.
And it's yeah, like every game you just go through it again and it's like, wow,
Hmm.
dude. It's a trip. But we'll definitely talk about EWC quite a bit. Something I did want to talk about, just I want to get your opinion on it and a little bit of like a refresher for. We talked about this with Sony, like obviously their whole thing regarding like no discs and just like the move away from physical media, which was definitely a big thing at the time. I thought this would have blown over or people would have kind of, it would have simmered down a bit. But I've watched now a couple of videos from people that I really like, and this is still a massive thing that people are talking about, and rightfully so. And the videos that I've watched on it were people talking about how there really needs to be a movement of the players to go and boycott this
Hmm.
move that's going down with Sony because Sony and again, this is hard because I love Sony. I've always been a PlayStation person, but man, they are not doing themselves any justice with the fans right now. Like they are pretty much just saying, "Oh yeah, like the brand loyalty that's going to carry us with the PS6."
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
they're pretty much just like it is what it is. We don't really care. We're not going to reverse the situation. We don't really feel that badly about it. And they still showed the stats regarding digital sales over physical sales. But I don't know if you've gone on Twitter and seen like the replies to anything that they post.
Hmm.
Have you seen it?
I've been keeping up with it. I've seen. I
Dude,
I'm with you. I thought this would eventually kind of just fizzle out because everything just fizzles out after like a week or two on the internet. But
right.
it's respectable seeing the gamers like come together and you know riot against Sony because I don't know. I guess we're part of the problem because we just download digital games. And I think I sent you, there was a blackout one weekend. People were like, we're not gonna play any PlayStation games like at all. And I'm like, good for you guys, but I'm sorry, I'm fucking playing video games.
Yeah.
I it's like it's a double-edged sword. I completely understand why people want physical games again. Um, because everyone wants that physical media again. Uh, it's just a trend that's coming back. But everything I own is just digital. It's just so again convenience. The fact that I can just download my game and have it, yeah, that's nice. Am I gonna miss a physical games? Yes, but I don't think them cutting physical discs for is gonna hurt me like that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like it sucks, but it's not like I'm rolling over and saying, "Eh, whatever." Like it is what it is. It's just I don't remember the last time I bought a physical game. To be honest, like I'm actually trying to think. I don't. I no. Yeah, I don't own a single PS5 game that's physical.
Hmm.
So the last one from PS4, I don't even know.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat too. Like, I mean, granted, I did just buy I was like Metal Gear Solid. It's like the Snake Eater one. I bought that off Amazon because it was on a big sale. Which now the PlayStation Store has put it on a sale, which is it's nice. But I think it speaks to like the bigger problem that with this move that they're doing, it's really like two things. One, people are seeing from it, and I agree that Sony does not care that they're making this decision, and people like there's so much pushback, and they're still just like, I don't really care. It is what it is. And it's like it's about the principle of it.
Mhm.
The fact that this has been around for so long, and also for me, the other part of it that I really understand with people is that if they're not going to continue making physical discs where yeah, you have actual ownership of this, there's nothing in place for you to actually own these games now. You know,
That I
where
completely understand. Yeah, I
yeah,
side
and
with
that
that. Yeah.
yeah, and that's where like I'm aligned with this too because to your point, I mean, I'm the same way, and I don't know other people maybe are, but I'm sure there's a small amount of people who definitely are exclusive to physical. And yeah, just because there's a small amount of people there doesn't mean that you should just cut them out.
Mhm.
It's like they're part of the community. You absolutely should still represent those people. But for you and me, we're not going to be affected by it that much when it comes to physical games. However, down the line, do fear that we absolutely will be affected by this because if there is nothing that's put in place where we actually own these games, then we really don't own anything.
Mhm.
And these games can just be taken away at will, and there's really nothing that you can do about it. And they already do that now with movies and even with like games that people buy because they run into issues with the licensing for whatever reason. Like, they could have some, I don't know, like Gran Turismo, for example, and then they lose the licensure, like, or some deal that they have with Ferrari in the game. So they can't have Ferraris in the game. So they're like, oh, chalked. That's
Mhm.
a huge part of the game. Big thing. Can't have it in there anymore. And it's
Mhm.
like, well, bro, I bought this game at $70 and it had this stuff in there. And now what? You're going to remove content or you're going to remove the game entirely? Like, even if it was years later, it doesn't matter. It's still the fact that you put that money down and you're buying a game, but you don't actually own it. Um, and when I see all the replies to Sony, it doesn't matter what these guys post. They could be talking about game sales, they could be talking about anything, but the ratios on everything that they put out is just like, fuck you. We're not going to give you any more money. We're done with it. No one supports you. And it really saddens me to see that Sony's response to this has been so abysmal. Like
Mhm.
again, they don't really seem to care that much from it.
Mhm.
Um and it's surprising to me, because of how like just how powerful people are talking about this. It's I thought again it was going to be something that blew over, but no, it's absolutely not. Like this is something I think is going to be around for a long time until they resolve it.
Yeah, I think the big argument is that like the ownership piece, because yeah, they could just take away any game that they want,
Hmm.
and that I can completely understand. And like fight for, because it's like, I mean, there's a movement called Right to Repair. I don't know if you've like ever heard of it, but it's in the like tech space, um, where specifically like Apple, for example, they don't want you to like repair your phones. They don't want you like opening up your phone, upgrading, the screen, like other pieces in the phone. So there's been like this movement trying to push back against Apple, and Apple has like compromised, with this movement slightly about the right to repair. But it's kind of the same thing. It's like we buy something, we buy a physical product. Why do we not own it? Why can't we do whatever we want with it? Because it's ours. And that just goes all the way back to, if we even want, like, for example, for the homeowners out there, why do I have a fucking house that I'm paying for, but I have to pay taxes because my house is sitting here? When like I own the house. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, what do you mean? And you're telling me technically, if the state really wanted to, you can just take it away from me, because even though it's my house, it's sitting on their property that I pay money to leave my house there.
Right.
So again, same thing. I feel like when you're going digital, it's really hard to see the ownership of anything because it's all online. And Sony, the way
There
that
is
they're
no ownership.
yeah, Sony. I mean, I don't know if you saw the video, but they essentially went over saying like, "Oh yeah, they acknowledged it, but they said that yeah, we're not going to return back the physical disc. They're going to sell the game case, but then a code inside of it." Which I'm like, that solves the premise of having something physical. That doesn't solve the ownership piece because you still don't own that. I think that piece is a good compromise for people that are collectors and like say they want the disc case or they want like a steel bookcase or something like that. Like, cool, they're trying to compromise there, but the rights and the ownership of the games, like, I don't know how you resolve that besides having a physical disc. And that's what everybody's like trying to like push back against. Not just video games, but I feel like just media in general, like music. I feel like everybody now just wants to buy their own CDs again because they want to keep it. Stuff like that. Movies.
Yeah, and for me too, it's tough because with games, with them being $70, like, dude, that's a lot of money that you're
Mhm.
shelling out for something. And to know that it could be taken away at any time, and that's like the real problem, you know. And to your point, yeah, I don't know what the workaround is for it other than just doing what they've always done, which is that they always have that as an opportunity. Like they make these games where yeah, you could buy them digital, but you know that's what you sign up for. And like you and I are aware of that. It's like, yeah, that it is what it is. I understand that. But for the people that, you know, are maybe a mix, they do buy physical games, and then those who maybe are exclusively buying physical games, um, to pretty much ignore them and then just force them down this hole where, oh yeah, you owned all those games. Well, you're not going to anymore, like in the future, if you want to stick with Sony, because we're gonna we're putting an end to this. You know, you are not going to own any more games going forward. And there's no plan put in forward where, yeah, there's some, again, I don't know exactly what that would look like, where you actually have the, you know, rights to these games. You know, and that's where it's like beyond my pay grade. But again, the most obvious thing that everybody is saying, and I do literally mean like everybody who talks about this, that is like a PlayStation fan or is just, you know, someone that's like a fan of console gaming, um, they all just see it as don't change it. Like why is it that big of a deal? And I think the other thing that's linked with it that pisses people off the most is they just see it as corporate greed,
Mhm.
where they're just trying to save money because yeah, they don't need to be putting, you know, all the money and effort into having any plants or having any manufacturing where they have to go make these discs, then they have to go and ship them out to places like GameStop or Best Buy or any game store. It's like they just get rid of all of that and it's all online. which it sucks. Like, yeah, they are a business at the end of the day. And yeah, you have to save money, of course. Like that is what you have to do if you want to stay around. But it's like, dude, Sony, they're doing pretty good, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do
Mm-hmm.
you really need to cut that corner? Because I fear that the repercussions, and especially when they say that, oh, our fan loyalty is really what's going to carry us into the next generation. I think that's a huge mistake on their part. I think they will be very surprised if they don't make any changes, that people would just be like, no, like I'm not going to do it. Forget it. They'll go to Xbox. If Xbox goes and, actually, to me, this slam dunk, easy move for them. They just make a console with a disc drive and they won, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Or it's like for us where we're really starting to think like, PC might be the move. Even though it is digital, there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot more pros to the PC side than what Sony's offering right now.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is just impact. Their bottom line gets a bit bigger, and yeah, it is a business, so there's cutting costs. That's what they're doing. But in anything, you can't you can't just give us all this stuff for years and then decide, oh, let's take it away, but still give you the same product again. Like that doesn't make any sense. Um, and I mean, I can think of like plenty of examples in real life where companies and stuff are doing that because yeah, you can't just give everybody what they had before and then decide to just completely take it away and then say, yep, this is what it is. You've had this for years, but now you have to deal with it. Like that community that only owns physical games, they will be forgotten about now. And Sony's just forcing their hand. They don't need to do this, but they want to save money. And do they really need to? Probably not, but it's a business, so they will need to make their stakeholders happy about this. And yeah, the only way that I know people are upset, but truly to like push back on this is like vote with your wallet. Just don't buy games anymore from PlayStation, which that's a lot easier said than done. Because I'll say it right now, I'm gonna be buying games from PlayStation still. Like if Subnautica comes out on PlayStation, I am buying that shit.
Right.
Like and I it just sucks because part of it is like they are forcing your hand. I don't like that. But that's just me being like selfish because I don't buy physical games, but I do feel for the people that buy physical games. I don't like that they're just removing our rights of owning a game. That I don't agree with at all. I think that's what a lot of people are really pushing back on. But I don't know how you fix that besides putting out physical games again. And the numbers don't lie. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the numbers. Like the majority of people buy online games. They download their games. They don't buy physical discs anymore. And there's a lot of pros to having everything online, but then stuff like this are there cons to it.
Yeah. But and again to that point, like it's really just about the fact that you have the option.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, to your thing with Apple. If you have the ability to go and upgrade your MacBook on your own, yeah, you could do it. But how many people really do that? Nowhere near as many people as like just people like myself who I have it and then it dies and you're like, okay, I got to get a new one.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of people who still do that. Um, but the fact that you have the option to
Mm-hmm.
do that, that's what to me makes it fine. Because if they offer that up, it's like, well, you know what you're signing up for if you're going to buy digital. And it's like, yeah, sure. Like I'll pay for the convenience. If I don't own the game in full rights, it is what it is, because I know that I could just go and order this online or go to a GameStop and buy, Modern Warfare 4 and I actually have it. Where now they're like, yeah, you don't have that choice anymore. And that's where I agree with you too. Yeah, you need to really just vote with your wallet going forward with them. Like I'm still gonna buy games for the PS5. Like it's not really to me that big of an impact because one, this is not gonna be happening, I think, until 2028. Um, but when it comes to the PS6,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this really for me, like as a longtime, Sony guy and PS, like or just PlayStation person, yeah, they really are not. When they say, "Oh yeah, the brand loyalty and the fan base is what's going to carry it," that's where I'm like, dude, as someone in there, no.
Mhm.
Like,
Well, yeah, that
what do
that
you
wording
really offer me?
that
You
wording
know?
is so bad because it's not brand loyalty. It's you're forcing like you're just forcing everyone. That's not
Yeah,
brand loyalty. I mean, you're forcing if I get a PS6, you're just forcing me to buy games. I mean, granted, I was just gonna buy digital games anyways, but again, like there are gonna be people that want the physical disc, and you're just forcing them. I'm afraid with Sony, Xbox, like all these two consoles that we're not going to be able to upgrade our storage anymore. I mean, Apple does that. Apple changed that. You can't upgrade your storage anymore. So when you go and buy that MacBook, you better get pay more for the storage because if you don't pay to get that, you can't upgrade it. And again, that's where the right to repair that stuff like comes into play. Same with PlayStation. The fact that I can upgrade my PlayStation to 4 terabytes, great, because they gave me the option to do that. But I would not be surprised if Sony and Xbox, not just Sony, because these guys are going to do it too. They're going to take away that option and trend towards all right. Here's 500 gigs, a terabyte, and 2 terabytes. And if you guys want more storage, you're going to have to pay more money. And guess what? Then when you max out that storage, you have to delete the game, or there's another option. You can go pay for a cloud subscription, $10 a month, and now you can have all your library games. Well, before we didn't need to pay for that, so now you're making us pay for more storage that we didn't have to before. That's when, like, I guess for me, when it really impacts me is when it comes to like my money, and I think it should impact like when they start forcing you to spend more money for things that you already had. That's when I'm very annoyed because how can you take away that option and then charge me more money?
right.
So
Yeah, and like what we used to have with gaming, and it was just like that was the expectation that you were going to be given that all the time in games, and just with consoles too. And now that when they slowly take that stuff away, you kind of forget that, oh yeah, we used to have this, or yeah, you used to be able to do that. And then people say, oh, it is what it is. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And then you just keep saying that, but then
mhm.
years down the line, you're like, dude, look at all the stuff that we've lost, like that they've
Yep.
just taken away from us over time. And that's where I think with this, they took a step too far.
Mhm.
And they're just going to bank on the people like myself who, own PlayStation since the PS2 and yeah, had brand loyalty and that's why I always bought it. But then when they make this move and it's not again, it's about the principle of it. It's like,
Mhm.
dude, you're screwing people over and you're forcing people's hands without like really giving a damn about what, your fan base thinks about it and it is what it is. And again, to what you're saying as well, you could easily see it going down that route where they start to control more and more of what they're doing, and it's scary.
Mhm.
I don't understand how Sony could just continuously shoot themselves in the same foot over and over again when I'm like, bro, you guys like they've won the console wars for years just because
Mhm.
Xbox was so bad. And I'm like, and they had it. And then they're just over here right at the finish line and they're like, we're gonna turn around. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I don't see Sony being anywhere near at the same level when the PS6 comes out because I think there's gonna be a lot more people um that are going to be starting to shop around, being like, is the Steam machine a viable option? Is getting a PC like, yeah, it is money for sure. It's a lot more, but think about what they offer, and think about how they treat their fan base as compared to what people are seeing right now with Sony, which it's like complete disregard for their fan base, even
Mhm.
after all the years of support and loyalty that they've given to them. And for them to just say that, oh yeah, but those people like they'll still buy the PS6. I'm like, that's what they're banking on. Like they're
Mhm.
banking on the people that just are like, oh, it is what it is. It is what it is, you
Mhm.
know. but there needs to be enough people who are like, you know what, nah, this ain't cool. Like
Mhm.
I'm over this, and I think that is what would give them a wake up call to maybe be like, you know what, we need to take a step back and reassess. Maybe we shouldn't do this stuff that we're talking about because it's not worth it.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, like, it'll only impact them when they see it in their bottom line.
Right.
That's that's just how it is at the end of the day. And if it,
Blackout. That
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like all these people saying we can do a blackout, like, yeah, do the blackout, but you have to take into account everybody else that's not going to do it. And that little blip, there's a small little blip of that day. I don't think Sony's batting an eye. Again, this whole thing is a principle. It's the principle topic and the ownership of these games. Like, this is way. I'm no fucking lawyer, but this is like a legal battle about like the ownership of these games, the rights of these games, and like all this stuff. Because it's not just gaming; it's like any physical media that we used to have. Like it's Spotify, Apple. Like a lot of people aren't using Spotify anymore or Apple Music, or Amazon Music, YouTube Music. Like they want physical discs again. Where I'm like, I understand because you're supporting the artist like directly doing that. But now you like again the other side. You own a bunch of shit in your house that's just like around, but you get the physical copy.
right.
Um, and I don't know. I just remember back in the day having like, oh, you want to buy the song? It's like $2. So you're telling me if I need to buy 100 songs, I gotta pay $200?
Right.
Like that's what it's gonna cost me. Shit. um, so yeah, it's interesting how it's going back, but it's all going back to physical because we want ownership of things, which I completely understand. Like that argument is totally fair. But I guess we won't really know until 2028. Again, like that's when we'll really see it, and we'll see if Sony even acknowledges it because yeah, it's like switching over to PC, right? They're just independent. There is no, we could play whatever game we want. Maybe not the PlayStation or Xbox exclusives unless they're on PC, but it's like we can upgrade PCs anytime we want. We know that, a PC, like you get to customize it your own way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, we'll see in 2028 and see what people really think about it. Because, like, yeah, the compromise for them was okay. Yeah, we'll give you the case, but the code's gonna be in there.
It's just
Well,
not the same.
okay, yeah, like we get the code in the case, but you're essentially paying $70 for a piece of plastic and paper.
Yeah, it's
You
like,
don't
what
get to
is
own
that,
it.
bro? Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's part of like the stuff that's changed over time. Like, man, when I look at some of these games that I have on PS2, like when I look at the original Ratchet and Clank that I have on disc, when you open that up, like, dude, there's like you got the manual in there, you got a sick ass poster, and they highlight like the story, the characters, they give them bios, they got like all the weapons in the game. It's like, man, the amount of detail that you would get, and then you'd also get in some of those, you get like demos for other games that are coming out. Man, the quality of what you would get back then for your dollar was definitely worth it, and you could see the amount of effort that was put into it. To go from that to now in 2028 or with GTA 6, like people are going to go buy the game and they're going to open it up and there ain't going to be anything in there. It's just going to be a code. It's like,
Yeah, I get
bro,
it.
like,
Yeah.
like how far have we fallen? I mean, the games, of course, like, yeah, they've become more detailed and it is about the game, but it's just that little bit extra detail for me when I see that. I'm like, yeah, these guys really, really cared. And you could just see that there was a lot of passion into it. And you would always expect that with games. It was weird to see. I mean, you never see a game that didn't have some game manual in there
Mhm.
with it. But yeah, it's just, again, it slowly has gone away. Um, and yeah, people are, trying to put up a fight about it. And I was going to ask you, like, do you think that with all this movement that's going on, do you think that Sony is actually going to budge on this?
No, I don't think they're gonna budge at all. Because
Yeah.
look, I saw the numbers. They presented them. If you see how much they're saving, That's what they're looking at. They're not looking at, oh, it's going to make these people unhappy. They're seeing this is how much we're saving. More people are buying everything online, anyways. The logical move is to switch and get rid of physical games because they get to save on money. And then there's that small little population of people that are like really upset. I just think that's what's going to happen at the end of the day. But I don't think that it's going to be like that necessarily for every game, because I know they said no physical games, but what if a developer like Rockstar, right? They care about the player experience. Um, what if they want to release like maybe not their disc, like Sony and Rockstar would have to compromise, but like Sony doesn't want to put a physical disc, but Rockstar wants to release their game with like other shit in it. Because like GTA 5, if you got the game, you would get the whole GTA map. You know, what if Rockstar negotiated a deal with PlayStation and said, "Hey, we want to do this for like our game," and Sony meets them in the middle and says, "All right, you can release that, but we're just not going to put a disc in there," or something like that.
Right.
Oh yeah, because the other thing, Sony spun it off as we're saving the environment. They're not, you know, technically they are. They're not
Bro,
shipping a lot of shit. They're not making all these discs.
yeah,
They
but
are.
they got those data centers though, bro.
No, they do. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like I'm just looking at the facts, and that's true. Like they are saving the environment a bit by not printing on all this plastic. I think you are very naive to look at this and be like, this makes no fucking sense. Like you look at the numbers, it makes fucking sense. I like if you're not an analytical person, I'm sorry, but yes, do I care about the people that care about physical games? Yes, because I own a fuck ton of physical games. Like you know me, I'm a collector. I like collecting that shit. But you can call me a sheep. I'm just rolling over and letting it happen. But most of the games I have are just digital. You know,
Yeah.
the one thing I will definitely fight against is ownership. I want to own my shit. And I truly don't know how Sony would even like do that without making physical games.
Yeah, I think to the original point, I think that the only way that Sony is going to really budge on this is, I mean, maybe in time, like before 2028, I would be really surprised if they do that. I do think that people can, like they've done it in the past where they've budged on stuff,
Mm-hmm.
from player feedback, and just and hate. Um, but that stuff was a bit smaller than this move for sure. I do think though the biggest thing for them is going to be just the sales of the PS6. If people don't come out and they don't hit their projected sales of the PS6, and they just see a severe decline because the people that are online who are complaining about it actually follow through and say, I'm not going to buy a PS6, like I'm done. Um, I mean, at that point, there's really nothing they can do other than like, I mean, they're screwed for that console generation,
Mm-hmm.
like that they've lost. Um, and I think they will lose, honestly. I think that money that they're saving for sure, like it's no joke. They're saving a ton of money, but it's it's going to be screwed over in the end where they lose a big chunk of their player base,
Mm-hmm.
if people don't buy their console. But again, that comes down to the will of the people. Like you have to vote with your wallet. If you really feel that strongly about it and you hate where Sony's going, then don't support them in that way. Like when they
Mm-hmm.
end up going to the PS6. um I know for sure, like, I'm really on the fence about it just because, again, I'm like, I don't really know what Sony this time around, not even like, this is definitely an issue. Like, it's just, again, because of the principles and the standards behind it, I don't like. Um, but I'm also thinking, like, at this point, I'm like, what do they really offer to me that PC doesn't already offer? You
Mm-hmm.
know? And yeah, I understand like PC is more expensive for sure, but a lot of people would be probably more than willing to pay that extra bit, where to what we're saying earlier about customization and being able to upgrade and with Steam like actually being honest with you and not screwing you over. Like if a game goes on sale and you bought it for 60, in 2 weeks it's $30, they'll reimburse you that money.
Mhm.
Um, like there's a lot of, and all, of course, the catalog, like
Mhm.
that for me too is like a big part of it. And Sony doing this, it's just like, guys,
Mhm.
you're not doing yourself any favors
Mhm.
for people. So yeah, people have to vote. Like that's when they're gonna know, when people
Mhm.
don't buy the PS6. But it'll be too late for them at that point. And it's like,
Yeah,
was it worth it? You
I
know?
think I think Sony and Microsoft. I mean, I'm like very confident Microsoft will go the same exact way. Like if Sony's doing it and they prove the concept, Microsoft is going to move the same way too. Um,
Yeah,
and again, both like billion-dollar corporations. Uh, until it impacts their bottom line, they're not going to try to change anything. And I think PlayStation and Xbox in general, like they have to be worried about people switching to PC because console gaming in general, not many people are even playing consoles anymore. I mean, the gamers are all moving to PC. So, and I would say if you're on PlayStation, you're definitely way more of a gamer, per se. Because I mean, okay, I'm just going based off of like me my past experiences, but most people that have had Xboxes like growing up and going through college and stuff all just play like super casually. They play like here and there, whatever. And anybody that owns a PlayStation that I've known, like they just game a lot. They play a bunch of other games. So um the Xbox, community, if they head down that route of just only being digital, to be honest, I don't think it's gonna impact them that much because of their demographic versus PlayStation. Yeah, like if your community is truly gamers and they're very passionate about it, they're just not going to buy your console. And if anything, if you're a real gamer and you really like video games, you're switching to PC eventually because of that catalog of games and because you can customize and upgrade whatever. And when you get to PC, you know that I mean, you're buying everything digital anyways. It's not like you're buying discs,
right.
but you know that going into it. Whereas, PlayStation, they're doing all this stuff to take away things that we already had. So I don't know. I think Xbox and PlayStation are in trouble regardless when the new consoles come out. It's just a separate discussion.
Yeah.
And because now they're really competing with PC um, and when Steam releases their Steam machine console that's essentially a PC, I you really have to like win me over of PlayStation has to have exclusives, like big exclusives for me to like really really stay on. And I mean, look, in the ideal world, I'm gonna own a PS6 and a PC, so I guess in the long run it doesn't really matter for them per se. But initially, like how many people are actually gonna want to do that if they just want a game?
Right.
Like, are they really gonna buy two consoles or a PC and a console? Like, no, most people will not do that.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate, to see where it goes, and I like what you're saying. I do think that with PlayStation, yeah, they're going down a bad route, but again, both of them, like PlayStation and Xbox, they're really just worried about not people going from PlayStation to Xbox and vice versa, but just everyone going to PC.
Mhm.
Like that's really where the concern is. Um, and yeah, they're not doing themselves any favors. So
Mhm.
but I'm happy to hear that it's still like a debate that's going on and people are still keeping the voice strong because it is important. Um, but yeah, no, I saw that in like the midst of everything I was watching. Like it was over the weekend when EWC was going on. A couple of guys I really like had posted videos on it, and I was like, yeah, I see like PlayStation's tweets and stuff, but when I actually clicked on them, I was like, oh shit! Like people,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. Anything that they post, it's still going on.
Mhm.
Um, so it was it's good to see. It's good to see that the gamers are standing up. I hope something actually comes of it. But again, we'll have to wait until 2028, or
Yeah,
whenever the PS6
I mean,
comes.
if you push enough, I think if you push enough, eventually some they're not going to win, but there will be a compromise. They have to meet in
Yeah,
the middle somehow.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, they're
Um,
gonna have to.
the only thing is though, like I just don't know how you compromise like on the ownership of games without
Yeah,
having like physical. discs, or
Well,
these developers like Rockstar, if they do
they got to
something
figure
like
it
that.
out.
Yeah. And I can see Rockstar doing that. Like, it's not fair for, developers like Rockstar and Naughty Dog and to be like, hey, we want to give like cool shit to our player base. And you're telling me if we can only put, maybe the developers make this stand, right? And they're like, you're telling me I can't put a game out with stuff in the game case because you guys don't want me to. No. You know what? This game, if that's the case, we're just only going to PC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if that's the case, Sony or at PlayStation, Xbox are gonna freak out. So
It's going to be bad if it ends up going there. Yeah. I don't know what the future of it's going to hold. I mean, it's going to be really strange. I wonder what. I mean, who knows what COD we're going to have in 2028? But that might be the first COD that we are playing on PC. I mean, it very well could be. It would be like Black Ops 9 or something. I don't know what,
yeah,
or like MW5 or some shit. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. But well, again, we'll have to be patient and see what ends up happening from it. But going back to what we were saying at the beginning, though, we were talking about all this stuff. When I was alongside watching EWC, did you watch most of the event, or did you catch all the
so
matches and everything?
I caught all the important ones, I would say. So
Yes,
I watched the
same.
grand finals. I saw Optic beat FaZe Thieves, so that they went through a gauntlet to actually win. I saw our boys at Boston get absolutely fucking smoked by Thieves the
Let's
first
not
day.
talk
I saw that and I'm like,
about Justin. Let's not.
I'm like, yeah, was I surprised? No, but I'm also like, yeah, Thieves, like them bowing out early on champs, obviously a fluke. I know they're playing Boston, but like Thieves look good for the most part. But
Yeah.
yeah, I saw. I would say like I saw most of Saturday and Sunday, and then like a couple matches on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those bottom matches, like with some of the amateur teams, like through the whether the qualifiers they call them, I believe. Um, that stuff was it was to be expected that none of them would really make it that far in there, especially like making a deep run into later on in the tournament. But it is good to see those guys play and see someone like seeing Snoopy and just other players that are in there who I hope will have a spot in the league, and people that definitely made a name for themselves, or players like that guy Ethan that people have been talking about all the time, and how he's like in a second coming of Christ and he didn't do that well. And then that guy DK that like, people are kind of talking about. The guy looked absolutely godlike. Like he looked hella good. I always like seeing that stuff because to one of our earlier episodes, we were talking about Abuza and 04, these guys being like the new gen of players. And then like Aluka now too, like these guys are going to be in the league for a long time. Like they're going to be the people that are going to be I say like, they're going to be that insane. Who knows? But they're going to be like the simps. They're going to be the Abizis and like envoys of their time, you know. But we're just seeing them right now. But no, I thought the event overall, I thought it was pretty good. I was happy with it. It's always got hype behind it. And just because of like the money that's involved and it being at the end of the year, to kind of cap it off. I was happy with it. I was of course happy to see of any of the teams that would win it. It was nice to see Optic make the grand finals and actually close out on a W for them. I think that was like huge for that roster that
Mm-hmm.
they didn't get second place again. But granted, they were playing Miami in the finals, which was very strange.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody predicted that to happen.
They're
Um,
like EWC merchants. Like even last year, they placed
yeah,
really well too. Like
yeah.
I don't know.
Then they got top four.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but Optic, no matter what people say, they played Miami in the finals. They still knocked out FaZe and they knocked out Thieves, and
Yes.
and they fucking swept FaZe.
Dude,
like
that was
uh,
mind blowing to me. Like I
Optic,
don't know what that was.
yeah, like and then Thieves, like they pushed. It was nice to see them play Thieves, and I was like, oh no, they're just gonna get 4-0'd, man. And then they pushed it all the way to last map, and I was like, they closed out. They closed out, and to be honest, like Optic looked untouchable. They looked insane the whole event.
Yeah.
And then when they went to play in the grand finals against Miami, I was like, holy shit, they're just gonna sweep these guys. No chance. And then Miami put up a fight, and then part of me was like, oh no, they can't go out like this. If they get reversed or completely, that would be awful.
By Miami.
By Miami. And then but yeah, it was nice to see them close. And they came in second in champs. They won EWC. There is a reality where they literally win everything this year.
Yeah, there is.
Everything.
Yeah, it's I think like the big debate coming out of EWC was just like how good this Optic team is, and how a lot of these teams that were built going into Black Ops 7 were trying to take them down since they won champs and EWC from last year. Um and yeah, like FaZe did win a major over them. Same thing with Gentlemates and Thieves, but Optic did get their major in Paris, and then they were just again so consistent. And to your point, yeah, you're right. I mean, they were second all year, and they did win a major, which a lot of those teams, that's like the goal, is that you win a major. Let alone, of course, winning champs is like the main thing. But if you win a major, that's already like you're off to a good start. But winning champs in EWC, those are like the big events that everyone's trying to win. And to see that Optic like got second, and again, those guys had a healthy year, like they were collecting, they didn't have any problems. But getting a major win and being back-to-back EWC years, I think it's really put this team into like another realm. And it's so cool because it's showing now, like we're already, as like the days are going on here, the rostermania is already kind of popping off, which is, I love it.
I can't wait.
Because this is, again, bro, this is another year where these teams that were built were trying to take down Optic, and Optic, like, they proved that they were the best team all year. They were the most consistent team, and they won the most out of any of the teams. They won 2 majors, like in 2 events. And yeah, at the end of the year, like you said, they just at EWC, bro, they looked so good. It was like, it was crazy to see them with the resilience that they had through any of the matches. Like it was very impressive.
Yeah, when I was watching the FaZe match, they walked over FaZe. Like,
bro, the star overload.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, dude, we're not even 3 minutes in and we're already first half done. I'm like, what the heck just happened? But yeah, there is a reality where they win everything. And if they won everything, I wouldn't even know what to do with this season. Like they're the best. They're better than the original Dynasty if they did that. Like that's insane. But to your point with rostermania, I'm super excited for it because yes, we're going into a game. That's why I like COD, because we get a new game. You expect your top players to be your top players year to year, but you just don't know if that's actually going to happen. And you don't know if your top players are going to peak at the right time. For example, because it's a big debate right now. Everyone's saying, does Optic make a change? Because Hydra apparently wants to come to Optic. It's like, that's the team I want to go for. And now I think if you're Optic, I don't think you make a change, but I think you have to dabble at the idea that Hydra wants to be on your team. And Hydra, like, definitely one of the top players, like, in Call of Duty in general. But like, he had a really slow year, but then he picked up really, really quick. And you don't know if that's going to happen next year. You just don't know. And people are obviously saying Hydra for Hook, who's just getting the shit end of the stick just because of the players around him. Which there's so many things we could speculate about this. I'm not even going to go on about it because there's just
this would be a 2-hour episode.
Dude, there's just so many possible like combinations that we could be thinking of. Maybe that's a fun like extra episode you and I could do. I mean, if you guys in the Discord, I know people in the Discord have mentioned it that they want more CDL talk and stuff. You and I are down for it. It's just that I know the majority of people listening don't watch the CDL. But let us know in the Discord. Maybe we can do like a special episode where you and I build like our own teams or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, with Hydra entering free agency and Scrap too, like those are two heavy hitters immediately that are going to help a team.
Right.
I
And the
think.
and the question is like, do they stick together? You
Yeah.
know, like if Hydra goes to Optic, if that happens, obviously Scrap's not going with him. You know,
Mhm.
and do they stick together, like go into another team? Um, yeah, who knows? I agree with you though. I don't think Optic should change. I don't think they have any reason to change. I think Hook is such a big part of that team in the comms department and makes all those guys' jobs so much easier. And you
Not
know,
to cut you
Hyde.
off, but
No,
what
you're
would
fine.
throw this off? Hook retires. He's like, I did it.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
yeah,
if
well,
he retires, oh my
bro,
god,
yeah, well,
or
if
someone
any of them
retires.
retired, if any of them retired, but yeah, I've seen people talk about that. Like I've seen the guys on the flank mention that,
Mhm.
but um, they also back it up too with, and I know you feel the same way. It's like, dude, those guys are just right now. They're like in their prime. They're
Yeah, they're not
killing.
retired.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah, there's no shot that they retire anytime soon. Um, but yeah, that if something like that happened, I mean, that would be a nuclear bomb if they're
Mhm.
just like Hook's like, yeah, I'm done, like I got
They're
my
putting
rings,
an
I'm all
Optic.
set, yeah, yeah,
Literally
exactly, like
ruin the
at the
league
top,
again.
yeah. But no, I don't see Optic having really a reason to change. Again, they've looked so good all year. But I will say though, I do think that conversation's a lot more viable if they didn't win EWC.
Mhm.
If they only won one major and they got second all year, I mean that's a really really tough one. That's kind of like the Vanguard phase where yeah they were really good. Like they legit, I think they did get second at every tournament.
Mhm.
But that sends a different story where you're like, dude, we literally can't get over the hump. Like we can't do it. But with
Mhm.
Optic, they're like, oh yeah, we can. Like
Mhm.
we do break at times, or like whatever happens. Some teams just turn up on another level, but they showed at EWC that if they really are like firing on all cylinders, they're the best team.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I don't see a reason for them to go change. And like to your point earlier, man, like yeah, we're on MW4. It's a new game. Like Shotzi's like been statistically very good at these games, like a lot of those players, and some of them have their ups and downs. Like some are good on Treyarch games and some are good on IW games or Sledgehammer games. Um, it's just going to be like a new realm. So who really knows how good some of those guys are going to be? Like the top guys are always going to be good, but are they going to be that much better to get them like more chips?
Mhm.
That's the debate that you have to have.
Yeah, I really think like the top players will always be the top players, but it's a matter of how fast can your top players learn the game and outclass other teams and stay like that all
Right.
year. Because I mean, Thieves, I mean, dude, they had the team. Hydra had the team, and Scrap had the team to win more than one major and to win
Mhm.
champs in EWC. Scrap, Hydra, Abizi, and Neum, like that was the team to beat Optic, and they did it once. I'm sure they wanted to do it more, but uh, Scrap, Scrap was the most consistent player on that team all year. He was frying, and then he got to the finals and he choked a lot. Like, but then Hydra, he was really slow in the beginning of the year. Like he was not looking like Hydra. Um, and then he eventually picked it up and got better again. And same with Abizi. Like Abizi did not have the best year statistically compared to like previous years. But again, new team. Um, he played with Simp and Cell for so long, and we don't know going into this year. Like if Shotzi, Hook, Dashi, and Merc can be frying again and just be at the top consistently early in the year, it's always good. Um, but yeah, the my only thing is I fear that they could end up like FaZe from MW3, where FaZe won EWC and FaZe was granted they weren't finishing second like all year, but they won EWC and they're like, yeah, we're not breaking up. But Simp has mentioned that we should have, broken up at that point because somehow we just won EWC and it worked out. It'll be interesting to see if Optic, they're on the verge of like thinking if they should make a change. I'm sure they weren't thinking about it at EWC, but they don't win that, and then yeah, they finish second again. I'm sure they're looking at other options, but they've just been so consistent this year. Like it, I would much rather take the experience that Shotzi and Hook have in their chemistry than pick up Hydra or Scrap. Like you can't replace that chemistry and knowledge of how each other play.
Yeah, I agree. And I always subscribe to the thought of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they had the most statistically successful year out of any of the teams. They're like breaking records still as a team. I don't really see any reason for them to change, and that's all dependent on the next game. Like, who knows how MW4 goes for them? It could be another like repeat where they're just killing and they're, up at the top winning multiple majors or winning, champs or EWC again. And yeah, it's weird because you don't really see a lot of teams nowadays stick together that long, Like,
I see
granted,
contracts.
this is only the first year that this team has like fully been together since Merck joined, but yeah, a lot of these teams just year to year they're going to split up and they could be completely different. It's like it's crazy to see that Simp and Draza have been on phase together for so long, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Like, and you think about like, Draza still has not even been on that team as long as Simp has. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's an oddity. Or Kleenex being on Toronto and like Insight, I think Insight's going to be gone. But yeah, it's when these top guys are there, people always want to see them moving around, and it's exciting to talk about. But again, I think for Optic, it's I just don't see any real reason to. But if they picked up Hydra, it's not like they're gonna regret it, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't really see the need to, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. I think run it back again because it's not broken.
Yeah.
And guess what? If it breaks like it did from MW3, switch it up.
Hmm.
And they dropped Kenny, they dropped Pred, which again, not being, I'll be devil's advocate here. That switch up happened, and they went into BO6 and BO7 back to back years. Treyarch games,
Right.
they look insane. Now we're going to a Infinity War game. Kenny looked insane. Maybe this is their long term goal. Sign Kenny as a content creator, and maybe come on at some point, which
That could be the move.
I highly doubt. But yeah, I don't think they make a change. So they run it back. I think Hydra. I don't know if he actually said that optics is number one destination. Obviously, it is right. Like for any player, it is. But he knows he has the power to shake it up, and I think a lot of it relies on like him. If he doesn't end up on optic, is he going to team up with Scrap again? Are they going to be a duo to sign with another team, or are they going to go their own separate ways? Um, because yeah, I think on the other side, like Scrap, I think Scrap has a ton of leverage because he's been so consistent all year. I mean, people are going to want to team with him. He's going to get the bag, but it's just a matter of like where are these guys going to go? And that's what I love. Where like we don't know where they're going to go, and they're all trying to build a team to beat Optic at this point. Um, and then at least these, dude, Abizi and Neum are like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, who do we get? And not saying that they can't get like star players. Again, they might get some players that aren't Scrap and Hydra, but they could all mesh really well together.
Hmm.
What I want to see that Scrap, Draza, Simp, and 04. I want
Yeah.
to see that.
Man,
Or
makes
it would suck seeing Abuza and 04 go, but give me Simp, Hydra, Draws, and Scrap. Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, it's going to take some crazy stuff like that to go down. But the real thing that, we're not so privy to is how much these teams are willing to spend. You
Exactly.
know, that's the big thing. It's like, yeah, I want the fucking, super teams. I want
Dude,
the
that's like
psycho teams
villain,
that I'm just like,
villain
bro,
team.
this is the stuff of nightmares. But
Mhm.
again, like they have to take either a massive pay cut, these guys, knowing that that is the goal. Like, if you don't win champs and you don't dominate, it's wraps.
Mhm.
Um, or again, these orgs are just willing to spend crazy money, which I don't think they're willing. They're going to spend money, but to get to that insane level, it's going to be tough.
Mhm.
And again, it's also like with these guys, just where they want to end up going, like what their destination is. I mean, for Thieves, yeah, there's more than likely going to be 2 empty spots there, and if there's one at least, like, dude, that's a desirable place, going to Thieves and be teaming up with a Beezy and Neum. It's like, dude, you definitely want to be there. But again, it's all about how much money and like which combinations of players are going to end up wanting to go there. But I do know for sure that MW4, the rosters I think they're going to look way different,
Mhm.
which again, that's what I love about this. I'm
Mhm.
like, every year you get some different stuff coming, and then it's gonna be Optic. They're gonna, I mean, knock on wood, they're gonna be the same team, and I'm like, all right, so year 2, let's see if anyone's built the team to dethrone these guys,
Mhm.
and then like force Optic's hand. I mean, who knows? The storylines that come from this stuff is the best.
Yeah, and it's either next year Optic could. I don't expect them to flop, or imagine they finish second again
Yeah,
all year. Like,
crazy.
we just don't know. And yeah, it's a matter: are these teams willing to spend? I think if you're Thieves, I think you're definitely losing Scrap or Hydra, a Scrap and Hydra. I think if you're Nade, like I think Nade will like shell out money, like his own personal money to keep
Let's get
Scrap.
that roulette money.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I think you need to keep Scrap. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
and
so too.
because Scrap has, there is a world where like he's Optic Scrap somehow, but very low chance. But I could see him on Phase. I could see him on Gentlemaids. I could see him on Falcons. It's just a matter like he gets to choose where he really wants to go at this point. Same with
Yeah.
Hydra. Um, and if they want to go together, man, if I was a duo like him and Hydra, like they have the whole like CDL in their pocket. They can decide what they want to do, but also they're like, man, do we actually want to break up and go our separate ways,
Right.
or do we stay together? It'll be interesting, but I want to see Scrap and Dross together. Like they put their differences aside and they just become like the absolute
Dominate.
villains.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
those two, like on the same team, shit talking, and they
Oh
put
my
their
god.
differences aside. They're the true villains.
Yeah. And they start their own like duo, you
Oh yeah,
know.
yeah.
Like it would be insane if that happened, you know. We can
Draws,
dream.
Simp, Scrap, and 04 or Hydra, like that's a crazy team.
Yeah, if they don't win on that team, it's wraps, bro.
I
It's
like
like, dude, I don't know. I don't know what you want, bro. That's as good as it gets. But yeah, it's again, it's a really interesting thing. I love talking about this stuff, and like to what you were saying earlier, if people first, if you made it this far, we appreciate it. Of course, listen to the
make it
episode.
happen, K-Sun.
Yeah, yeah,
Or come
but
to Boston somehow.
right, I know, dude. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at what we have.
I will empty my retirement.
We've got what does Boston have to offer?
I don't know, bro. I'm like,
We got Purge.
Pat
No
season
offense.
tickets, bro. Give him something.
Yeah, please.
But yeah, it's again, it's just an interesting debate, And again, I love hearing what people say about it. I like listening to the guys on the flank talk about it. Obviously, they're really educated on it and got the inside scoop, And it's fun to shoot the shit about it. So if you do have an opinion on the CDL roster mania stuff, I mean, do let us know in the comments on YouTube or join the Discord, like we've been saying before and time again. Because we're always talking about that stuff, and of course, too, what we were talking about regarding Sony and their dilemma. I would like for people to know. I'll make sure to have the question. Do you think Sony's going to pay for this down the line? Yes or no? I think I do think they will, but again, I'd like to hear what other people say about it. So do let us know in the comment section on YouTube. Whether the question on Spotify, same thing. We'll have plenty of shorts on TikTok and Instagram. So do let us know there whether you think we're crazy on it or you agree, disagree. We're always here for the commentary on it. But yeah, I think that just about does it for this episode. Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely let us know too in the Discord if you want a separate episode and you just want to hear straight CDL talk, or just Mike and I building our own rosters. Let us know because
Yeah.
you and I are happy to do that. We
Yeah.
just we like talking CDL, but we do understand a lot of people don't watch the CDL.
So if you're one of those people that is over here doesn't like the CDL, you got to go join the Discord and let us know. So that way we know, because otherwise, or just, again, leave some comment somewhere. Don't be some anonymous person who's complaining about it. We need the feedback. So that way we know. But again, everybody, we thank you so much for listening to this episode. Be sure to go to anchor.fm/COD Casuals, since we're there on all streaming platforms. You know the deal. The Instagram and TikTok, go follow us over there to check out any of the shorts. Go to YouTube, comment, like, subscribe. 5-star rating as always. And again, leave a comment so we can have any feedback on the episode and what you'd like to see from us in the future. We always appreciate that. And the rating, 5 stars as always. Okay. And I think that does it, huh?
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone, to listening number 287 of the COD Casuals podcast. We're your host, Mike.
I'm Justin.
And we'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, everybody.
See ya.